Good afternoon and welcome to our Meet the Dean team with the College of Continuing Education. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to hop into the room. Apologize for the confusion about the 12:15 start time, but we're happy you're here with us, and we'll just give it one quick minute for people to hop in and we'll get going. All right, it looks like our numbers have quit going up. So let me again welcome you to our Meet the Dean team with the College of Continuing Education. My name is Jennifer Barber. I'm your Assistant Vice President of the Sacramento State Alumni Association, and we're so glad to have you here today. Joining me from the College of Continuing Education is Dr. Jenny Murphy, Dr. Pamela Wimbush, and Dr. Brian Bedford. Before we jump into the session, I wanted to share a little bit of background information on the College of Continuing Education, because if you're like me, you often encounter the question of what is the College of Continuing Education? What is their focus? So they are really focused on improving the workforce through degree completion, certificate programs, organizational training, and more. They really make it possible for traditional students to also finish in 4 years by offering summer session and winter session courses, and also for adults who return to complete their degrees. The College of Continuing Education is Sacramento State's 8th college and really extends the mission of Sacramento State by partnering with and administering programs for the 7 degree granting colleges of the campus. Their goal is to enhance the university's mission as well as access. They primarily focus on serving students outside of the traditional higher education pathway, such as adults and youth. And through their work, they touch the lives of over 80,000 individuals through programs, conferences, trainings, events, and online offerings. That is no small feat. On top of it all, the College of Continuing Education does not receive any state funding. So they operate like a fee-for-service nonprofit within the public sector. So our goal today is to share with you a little bit more about what the College of Continuing Education is, what it means for you as an alum, a community member, and an employee, and with the hopes that you'll get involved. So with that, let's jump right in. And I'd like to start by asking everyone to introduce themselves. So I am going to start with Dr. Jenny Murphy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Jenny Murphy. I am an alum of Sac State, the EDD program through the College of Education, and have been with the college for 19 years, and I'm thrilled to be here today. Thank you.
And Dr. Pamela Wimbush.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pamela Wimbush. I'm the Associate Dean for Program Operations and Support with the College of Continuing Education, and I'm excited to be here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Brian Bedford.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Bedford. I am the Associate Dean of Strategic Initiatives. Really excited to be here with you all this afternoon. I've been with the university 5 months, so good to see you.
Welcome. Glad to have you on the team. So let's jump right in and get to know a little bit more about you before we dive too deep into the college. Pam, could I ask you to get us started with what inspired you to get into higher education and specifically continuing education?
Okay, so my path to higher education was kind of a mistake, so to speak. I was working in a technology firm and when the dot-com burst. And so I was part of the reduction in workforce. I started to work with a friend's daycare. And on my first day, I realized this is not what I want to do. So a friend of mine, she reached out to me and she says, "You need to call my boss." And I said, okay. And so I called him and this was on a Thursday. He said, "I don't need to know any more about you. When can you start?" And I said, "Tomorrow." So I went to my friend and I said, "I told you if I found a job, I would have to leave." And so I did. And I started out working in continuing education units. And from then on, it's just been my path. I was actually a continuing education student. And so it just all worked out for me.
Amazing. And how did it get you to Sacramento State in particular?
Oh, wow. So I have worked, I live on the East Coast, and I have worked in community college, private university, an HBCU, state institution. And during that time, I would go to conferences and I would hear about Sacramento State and all of the wonderful work that they were doing in the adult learner space. And so my dissertation advisor reached out to me and shared with me that there was a position he thought I should apply for. And I was like, California? Me? California? So I took a leap of faith, applied for the position, and here I am.
Well, we are so glad you did, and we hope you're enjoying sunny California.
I really am. I am.
Oh, good. Good. Now I want to pass it on to Dr. Brian Bedford and learn a little bit more about you and what inspired you to get into higher education and specifically continuing education.
Yeah, great. So I, like Pam, kind of landed in higher education almost by accident. I'm a local product. Grew up kind of a poor kid in South Sacramento. So when you grow up not having much, you aspire for more. After completing my education at Cal, I was fortunate enough to land a position at Intel. So I spent about 13 years in the private sector, Apple and Intel, before I really just kind of became disenchanted with the corporate sector, if you will.
Oh.
To do more or do more with fulfill this void that I may have. Am I freezing? Am I okay?
You had one frozen moment, but
okay, I'm
keep
sorry.
going.
All right. And so anyway, so I really just wanted to do more work. And then so when I decided that I was going to leave Intel and go to work doing something else, I kind of landed in higher education. I just started applying for jobs. And I was fortunate enough to land a position at Sacramento City College as a business law instructor. And I found that was very, very meaningful work, and it was filling some voids that I had in my personal growth and development. And so from there, I became the dean at Cosumnes River College, the dean of business. And then I did some nonprofit work before kind of having some intersections with Project Attain. I'll talk about that in a bit. Started having some intersections with that work and really just liked the challenge. And so when I felt like it was time to take on some new challenges, this Sac State opportunity presented itself, and I was fortunate enough to be the chosen candidate, and here I am. So,
well, wonderful. And I'm guessing you're very familiar with West's business law textbook. I remember that dearly from my time as an undergraduate. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And now let's go on to Dr. Murphy. Can you share with us your path? What inspired you?
Yeah, so I will go ahead and just point out a theme that has already begun with both Dr. Pam and Dr. Brian, is that pretty much everyone in continuing ed stumbles into continuing ed. It's not something that many of us know about, and when you get a room full, a stadium full of continuing education professionals, no one says, I want to be in continuing ed when I was growing up, because we'd never heard of it. I hope that is changing for folks, and that there are youth and young people out there that aspire to do this work, because serving adults and non-traditional students it's important work, it is fulfilling work, and I believe the needs are going to continue to grow and grow as our society changes, and we need to really think about learning over a lifetime for both our personal and professional development. So my story is a lot like Pam's. I was in the .com industry, and it wasn't going so well. And I was part of the reduction. In fact, I was part of reducing myself out of a job. And I really wanted to explore what a makeover would look like, right? Like, what is a new way to position myself? I had been working domestically and internationally and did not have a network here in Sacramento. I had relocated, but was still traveling and telecommuting. And so I had to sort of reinvent myself. And I literally took one of those quizzes on monster.com, which was new at the time and the thing at the time. That was like, what do you want to be when you grow up and what would you be good at? And it said college administrator, but I didn't know what that meant. So I had to look up college administrator and found a program manager position here at the College of Continuing Education. And so I applied for it and honestly got in relatively quickly. I thought because I was bringing a wealth of experience from the private sector, but in reality, it had been a position that had turned over quite a few times. And so there were bets about how long I would stay. 19 years later, I'm here. I'm not planning to go anywhere. When I stumbled into continuing education and higher education, you know, I really found my people. I found my pathway. I found a calling. And I am really pleased that I found a field that lets me do great work and make a difference in the community.
Do you know who won that bet about how long you'd be here?
Right, me.
You did. You are the winner in this scenario. And I totally understand what you mean about the career field of continuing education. I have run into the same. Not many people grow up thinking, I'm going to be an alumni director.
Exactly.
So I totally get it. It's something you discover at a certain point in your life. Speaking of discovery, Dr. Murphy, I'd love to keep it with you for a minute, excuse me. What changes have you seen in the College of Continuing Education during your tenure? As you mentioned, you've been an instructor, an associate dean, now the dean. Kind of what evolutions have you seen?
Yeah, so that is a fantastic question. And having been in continuing ed for 19 years, but really isolated in the CSU system and particularly at Sac State in terms of where I do my work. But I've also been a part of the National Association, University Continuing and Professional Education Association, in terms of sort of what is continuing education, extended education, professional and online continuing education. We call ourselves many things across the nation. And so I think sometimes it feels like we have an identity crisis, but it's really about, in my mind, is that perfect nexus in between workforce development, economic development, and higher education. And so it is always evolving in terms of what the marketplace needs, what employers need, where individuals are in their life path and their professional path, their different phases, to formalize their education. Oftentimes while they work, while they care for kids, while they care for elders, and sort of move things forward. I've seen that continue over the course of time, really being focused on maybe graduate programs, some degree completion programs, and some professional industry-based certificate programs. But I think in the last 10 years in particular, we've seen a growing focus on degree completion, and particularly as the numbers across the United States are so big and so large. And I know Brian will talk about that, what that looks like here locally. But we're also seeing, I think, a reemergence of the relationship with employers and what's usually labeled as corporate education. And here in Sacramento, that's actually, you know, really working with a lot of government, be it federal, state, local government, to upskill their employment base and just to continue to develop people, not just for the individual's sake, but also organizational development. So a lot of taking programs in-house, helping workers upskill themselves and benefit the organization. So that whole learning over a lifetime has really expanded in definition, that it's not just good for you as a person, but it's good professionally, and that the world is changing enough. You do have to reskill and retool for the jobs of today, as well as the jobs of the future.
That is a lot that you are covering within the college. That's impressive. And if I had to take away what sounded like some of the priorities, which are some of the emerging areas, I would say degree completion and corporate training. Are there other things you would add to your priority list for the college?
Well, actually, you really sort of hit the nail on the head. We have two big focuses. and or FOCI. We have
FOCI?
two things we're focusing on. Really big in terms of structural and how we think of our work. There's the college to learner work. So that's really the college working with individuals for their own advancement, degree completion, certificate programs. And then there's the work we do with colleges to organizations, and that's that employer organization development. The red lines between that really are advancing the attainment of adults. We are looking at new programs and partnering with the Carlson Center for Entrepreneurship on entrepreneurship programming, also Impact Foundry with nonprofit programming, and then also really leaning into our role as a public institution and in continuing education about addressing equity through curriculum and programming and what that looks like to really become an anti-racist campus, and what is our role in terms of anti-racism and anti-discrimination throughout the adult education space.
Well, that is an impressive amount that you are tackling through the college. I'm hoping I can pivot over to Dr. Bedford, maybe to share a little bit about his role and how it intersects with the priorities you mentioned, and then I'll ask the same of Dr. Winbush.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm the Associate Dean of Strategic Initiatives, and that really comes with kind of two halves of one big shop. So on one half, I have the non-credit certificates, and we manage about 12 different programs. And they range from train the trainer to contract management to business analysts and so forth. And then the other part of the shop is strategic initiatives. And one of the really big initiatives in that space is Project Attain, which is really our degree completion effort for the region. And that's a huge undertaking. The concept is that we would have partner institutions, educational institutions, all working together to identify folks that may have started at their institution but not completed, and really put some resources around the work to increase our regional educational attainment. So as Dr. Murphy mentioned, a big part of the work that happens in CCE is getting learners to come back and complete. This will really be kind of a capstone part of our effort if we can get the region, and then even larger than that, the state, to participate in this work and work as one big state, really region, to really make a big lift in this space to get more people to complete. So very specifically, I would say on the non-credit side, one of the things I'm focusing on is really how do we do a really good job in assessing the programs that we have so that we can be more nimble. This is a time when things are changing very rapidly, not just technology, but we see with COVID how that's really caused us to rethink how we do our work and how we conduct business. So I think in the education side, we've got to get really good at being able to spin up programs, if you will, that are comprehensive. And then we also have to be able to turn down programs that are not doing as well for lots of reasons, because they're just learning is not where the market may be going. And so we spend time in that space really trying to understand what the work is and how that certificate side of the work supports the larger effort for degrees and so forth. So that's covers it.
And those are all critical, especially in economic downturns. We always see in an economic downturn that people use that time to develop their professional skill set. So great work that you're doing. And if I understand, there's a huge audience out there for degree completion. Those are some pretty high numbers, aren't they? Of people who have some college under their belt, but not.
Yes, when you look at nationally, there's about 35 million folks that have some college, no degree. At the state level, we're about 4.5 million. And then regionally, and when I say regionally, I'm speaking really to the 7-county region in Northern California, we've got about 345,000 folks that have some college, no degree. So we've got a tremendous audience for this work. The idea is to really put an apparatus in place so that we can really address these concerns and hit these numbers at scale.
That's impressive. That's a lot of lives you'll be changing. Dr. Winbush, how about you and your area and priorities?
Yes, so I'm the Associate Dean for Program Operations and Support. Under my purview is enrollment services and customer relations, along with marketing and communications, digital learning and technology solutions, evaluations and assessment, along with summer and winter session, and any special programs that falls under that. So as Dr. Bedford stated, and Dr. Murphy stated, while they're out having, bringing in new programs, we are the arm that kind of keeps the train moving. And so our major initiatives that we're working on are building efficiencies within all of our units. We want to ensure, as Dr. Bedford stated, with the onset of COVID, one of the things that we had to do was move to a virtual environment within 48 hours. We were able to accomplish that. We're still building on those efficiencies. We are also the arm that takes care of our online management, learning management system. We have 2 learning management systems that we're working with now. One is Moodle. We have one of the second highest Moodle instances in the United States, where we have about 90,000 users or learners that have gone through our training programs. So we're really proud of what we do. And the backbone of what we do is to ensure that our adult learners can have access to our training and conferences in a reasonable amount of time. So we're excited. We're excited about the work that we're doing now and also the work in the future.
Well, with the size of the potential audience you have out there, that infrastructure is critical. I mean, without it, there's no way you can serve the people that want to enhance their education and kind of move their personal path forward. So kudos for you taking that on.
Absolutely. And also, while we're working internally within CCE, we also work across the campus as well with them, and they are an integral part in assisting us in moving and in, I guess, the more sustainable infrastructure in order for us to serve our adult learners.
Well, good luck to you as you keep charging forward with that. Let's take a little lighthearted moment and talk quickly, kind of rapid fire. Each of you, what is your favorite thing about doing this type of work for Sacramento State? I'm going to go with Dr. Murphy first.
Okay, so my favorite thing about being in continuing ed, and especially here at Sac State, is we really get to be creative. Like we have our, our normal stuff, but we really work at that, like not the bleeding edge, but I like to think the leading edge of being able to try things out. And that's fantastic for a creative spirit like many of us are. But most of that sort of fantastic part is actually being able to work with faculty who may not have the mechanisms in their college to support the creativity or innovation. And so to be able to just really like imagine what could it be like if, how could we solve this problem if, and to really be able to bring mechanisms and resources and work with faculty and our academic departments and colleges and deans to really like try something new and see if it sticks, right? I mean, we have to take calculated risk, and I love to be able to do that.
I love the being on the leading edge. That's, I think, where we want to be as an institution and clearly where you want to be as a college. So that's awesome. Dr. Wimbush, what's your favorite thing about doing this type of work and specifically at Sacramento State?
Oh, so for me, I enjoy what I do. And being at Sacramento State, an anchor university, the initiatives that we have going on, the people. I have been in higher education for over 20 years, and I've been at Sacramento State for a year. And I will say that the openness and the responsiveness, the opportunities that exist here are endless. And it's just a rewarding experience. And also the team members that I work with, and also the dean team, are very supportive, collaborative, and there is a true commitment to the adult learner. And to find a place like that, for me, it's just a rewarding experience for me.
Well, an environment does make a huge difference in the work we do and our enjoyment of it. Dr. Bedford, I know you have had the pleasure of joining Sac State while we were in virtual operations. So how does that translate to your favorite thing about Sacramento State in this work?
Yes, I think, for me, we've all heard the expression, if you love what you do, then you never work a day in your life, or something to that effect. So I will say this, what I love about the work that I get a chance to do, or work I get a chance to do, is that it's got the combination of the creativity space where you get a chance to really develop something that can have impact. And then the idea that it's meaningful work, that it can change people's lives when you get a degree. And then when you think about the scalability of the work that we're doing, it also can change the complexion of the region. So the idea that I can play a small part in that work, along with the great team that I get a chance to work with every day, it really inspires me to get up and want to come in or log in or Zoom in to to play my part in trying to move the needle forward. But I've had jobs that I've enjoyed before, but this is a combination of not only also doing really meaningful work that can sting rippling effects for our region.
That's fantastic. And you kind of teased up the next question perfectly, because I wanted to have you talk a little bit more specifically about the Sacramento region and the degree gap that we have here, and what it can mean for our region, and then how that trickles out statewide if we can lead the effort, to take Jenny's term, to focus in on those learners that have the opportunity to attain a degree.
So I mentioned earlier, there's about 345,000 folks in our region that have some college and no degree. So so the question becomes, well, okay, well, how do you make it happen? Like, how do you get them to come back and complete? So we've got two initiatives that are really part of a larger initiative that have come, that really were incubated within Sac State. The first one is Project Attain, which I mentioned earlier. That's kind of a regional work where you have multiple institutions participating, sharing practices, tips, and tricks on how to identify students that have were previously at their institutions and have stopped out and dropped out for myriad of reasons. How do you get them back? And then what's the apparatus that they use to reorient themselves or re-enroll into the institution? So in addition to that work, or I should say a subset of that work, is Sac State's instance of that is called Hornet Attain. And that's where we are really focusing on our Hornet, those that have stopped out, trying to get them to become alumni, but those are the ones that we're really focusing on. So we're spending a lot of time on how do we set up a system or a process, again, so we can do this work at scale. And so that's a big chunk of the work that I'm spending time on. And the value of it is that, there's a lot of individual achievement and confidence that comes from completing your degree, but there's also this economic impact that happens when you complete the degree. And so many of you on this call, a Greater Sacramento Economic Council, which their part of their responsibility is to promote the economic vitality of our region. And one of the pieces of that is how you measure that is having educational attainment. Today, educational attainment is measured by how many baccalaureate degrees you have. So a portion of the Hornet Attain work is getting folks to complete their baccalaureate degree. So you can imagine that when you have a high educational attainment score, the idea is you attract you get jobs, and with jobs, you get economic vitality. So, so the ripple effects of the Hornet Attain, Project Attain work are really just immeasurable, because you just don't know how much of an impact you can truly have. You just know it's great work, and you just kind of keep your head down and keep grinding until we get the number. Now, our goal is 60% attainment for our region. But if we can get that or surpass that, again, the impacts and the effects of that work are just immeasurable.
Yeah, everybody will truly benefit. We keep hearing about how the educated workforce is going to be at a shortage in the coming years. So I think everything you're doing in this direction is helping us to be better prepared as a region and a state. And I'm thrilled to hear that you're working on Hornet Attain to get more Sac State alums to finish their degree. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do one more round robin question, and maybe this one will start with Dr. Wimbush, about what is the one thing you wish everybody knew about the College of Continuing Education, a hidden gem, so to speak, your favorite like pet area.
That we are experts in adult learning, that we continue to strive to do research in that area. We work within the CSU, the California State University system, to be experts in that area. And we also work nationally with other universities as well.
Well, and it sounds like that national work is part of what drew you here. So clearly we're doing something right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Dr. Murphy, how about you?
Well, one of the things that I continue to wish that people know more about us is in terms of the fact that we operate throughout the year. And I will say 365, 24/7, because we do have some self-led online courses that are up 24/7, 365. I think it's important to note, especially for adults, and Pam commented about this, we're experts for the adult learner. Adults don't get laid off or lose their jobs on a semester schedule. Adults don't need to take professional development on a semester schedule. They maybe have an opportunity, they have funding, or they have a need. And so our certificate programs, degree completion programs that are not specifically tied to you have to wait till the fall or you have to wait to the spring, that is really something that is responsive to adult needs. And I continue to want to hope that people look to us, regardless of the time of year, that they need to or want to upskill, retool, or are in need of thinking through that next educational attainment.
That is a really great distinction. I work on campus and I work with you all, and I sometimes don't even think about that difference between the semester-based bulk of the campus and the work that you do. So that's wonderful for the community to know as well. Dr. Bedford, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm going to harken back to the prospective impact, the economic impact on our region. I mean, we would collectively change the experience in Sacramento if we were dubbed, let's just say, for instance, a smart city. The impact of what that means for businesses having a workforce that they view as talented, the employment, the tax base. I mean, there's just this huge snowball that starts to happen. And I wish that we all understood, like, there's, as much as the individual accomplishment is a really cool achievement, changing the complexion for generations is daunting. But I just wish we could figure out how to craft that message crisply and communicate that we have a tremendous opportunity here and we need support to do the work.
Yeah, the education really can lift the entire community, and in this case, the region, and make a difference in a lot of people's lives. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm figuring at this point, some of our viewers may be wanting to know how they could enhance their skill set or make a career change, and what could CCE do for them, our College of Continuing Education, do for them in that pursuit. Dr. Wimbush, would you be able to address that?
Absolutely. So we have a host of enrollment services individuals who are available to assist individuals who are looking for another career path. We have program coordinators and program managers who are also readily available to speak with individuals regarding what their needs are, what credits they may need, or also looking at prior learning for any type of education that they may have had previously. Dr. Bedford in non-credit programs, he has individuals who are readily available as well. You may also reach out to us individually. I'll provide our information. For me, I took a different path, and I'm willing to speak with anyone who is interested in a path in higher education and or continuing ed. We are always promoting and are strong proponents of individuals coming into the continuing ed space.
And your message is clearly getting out there. I got an email just this morning from an alum saying, who's eligible for the degree completion through CCE? My short answer that came to my mind is anybody, but Brian, is there, Dr. Bedford, is there a different answer, a better answer?
No, I liked your answer. I think that's it. I liked your answer.
Awesome.
Nothing to add to that. Yeah.
Awesome. So the first question that came in from some of our viewers, and I'm going to give this to Dr. Murphy, is the question of, is a PhD required to be a dean?
Okay, so that is a fantastic question. And I think we all, sort of conveyed how we stumbled into continuing education. I don't think any of us joined higher ed with that already formal EDD or PhD in hand. It is a typical path in the academy that individuals start as a faculty member. They work their way up through the different service and learning and teaching. They move up the steps. They may take on leadership roles as a chair or within faculty senate around shared governance, and then pursue opportunities for an associate dean role, and then a dean role, and then a typical path to provost and president. In continuing ed, it is typically that folks move into the space of becoming an instructor or faculty member. They then serve as a program director, and then have the potential to move into an associate or dean role. It depends on the institution of whether a terminal degree is required. I would say when I started in continuing ed, not every continuing ed dean that I knew had a terminal degree, but that is more and more prevalent now. And we're going to see less and less deans of continuing ed unless they have that formal education. And I think it's not just, it's this requirement to check a box, continuing to further your education changes the way that you think. It changes the tools in your toolkit. It provides lenses to understand the way the academy works, the history of education, our role as educators, be that bad and good in our history, what that looks like. And I think especially when we're serving adults, it's important that we have that broader context, that we really understand higher education as a whole, and that really our expertise is about the adult experience that is our discipline.
Wonderful. Thank you for addressing that. One of our attendees also would like to know what type of interactions are possible with departments and faculty on campus and the College of Continuing Education, and are research opportunities a possibility? Anyone want to volunteer to tackle that one first?
Yes.
I could see you sitting back, just waiting.
We do this on Zoom, just like we do in a room. Who's going to make eye contact and who's going to make this? So definitely, we love to work across the campus, and we partner with all of our academic colleagues, departments, and colleges. The appropriate path is always to really have the support of your department and your chair and your dean on exploring an opportunity that could be provided and self-support. Other things that we do, we partner with the Center for Teaching and Learning to do some instructional design and grants for faculty that want to redesign courses, particularly for summer session or develop accelerated coursework. We currently don't have advertised research opportunities, but it is something that is on our radar we would like to do. And so certainly, while we don't have anything formalized right now, we're open to ideas as we get our program up and running, because we would like to, have more, we'd like to sponsor, be a part of more research around adult learners, and whether that's comparative research around traditional or non-traditional students. It is about the economic impact. It is about how communities change or public health changes when educational attainment is increased, especially for adults. We would love to be a part of sponsoring, shaping that, and moving that forward. It's one of the things that's been on my agenda as a dean. So we're happy to take some ideas and conversations on that while we start to think through what a formalized program looks like.
Thank you. The next question from one of our attendees is, how do alumni fit into your vision and plans? And I promise I didn't seed this question. How do you see alumni relations adapting as the college gets innovative, such as the Carlson Center and its commitment to social justice? I feel like maybe that might be a Dr. Bedford question with strategic initiatives. So I'll start there, and then if anyone else wants to jump in.
Sure, I'll chip away at part of that, and then my colleagues can help respond. So in particularly in the Hornet Attain space. So this is an innovative space, and we're trying to figure out how to fund scholarships and how to give opportunities for learners to come back. So there's a tremendous opportunity as we develop this system and this process that we're going to need financial support. And so the value of education and what Sac State did for you. And so this is an opportunity for us to give back and support and help others achieve some of the success that you have had because of your degree and your experience at Sac State. So there's a wonderful opportunity for that.
Thank you. Dr. Wimbush, Dr. Murphy, did either of you want to add to that?
Sure, I'll add to that. So for our alums and those who have gone through Sac State, the traditional path, we want them to know that you can continue your learning with CCE. We have the credit programs, we have leadership opportunities where they can enhance their current employment. Not only leadership, we offer conferences. There's so much that we offer that I don't know if alums really know about CCE and know that they can continue to increase their skills and also add to the community as well.
I agree. I think a lot of alumni don't know all that there is to find within the College of Continuing Education and how it could impact them. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention at this opportunity that members of the Alumni Association do get a discount on a number of the courses through the College of Continuing Education. So thank you for that. And we continue to do our best to promote that opportunity. And for those of you out there who are viewing, membership in the Alumni Association is free. There is no cost. I know Kelly will put into the chat eventually the link to join, or she may have already. So please take advantage of that and get to know the College of Continuing Education better.
Yeah, Jennifer,
yes.
I want to appreciate you bringing up the special Hornet pricing. We are not able to do that on every single opportunity, but we do that for all that we can. And, with Dr. Bedford coming on board, I think it's really given us a little additional bandwidth while things are really tight right now as we're trying to still learn to work virtually and build new programs and deliver virtually as well. I think the opportunity looking forward to develop specific programming related to alumni, to increase the opportunity and the connectivity for alumni to be connected with traditional programs or be guest speakers, to lecture or to bring the practitioner perspective into our classrooms or maybe our partner classrooms. I just would love to see that evolve as Sac State continues with our evolution as a public institution and also our efforts with the Anchor Institution.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. Another question, what would you say is a leadership principle that all of you share in common and share with passion? I know, that's one to ponder.
I'm sorry, Jennifer,
Any-
you froze for a second for me. Can you repeat that question?
Yes, what would you say is a leadership principle that the three of you have in common and share with passion?
Well, I'm gonna lead with this and ask my colleagues to chime in. Every single one of us really owns the work that we do. We are committed to the work individually and collectively. And I think that matters in the way that we show up to whatever opportunity, whatever hardship, whatever challenge, whatever change is on the horizon. We show up. We're not afraid to fail. We don't like to fail. Trust me, nobody likes to. But we're not afraid of that. We know the importance of being resilient and getting back up. And I think that is qualities and characteristics that we all share as people. It comes out in our leadership. And I think it's so important in terms of the non-traditional students that we serve.
And you've got to try new things to grow. So without that, ability to take a risk, you're not going to grow. We do have a couple more questions. So unless Dr. Wimbush or Bedford have something additional you'd like to add, I'll move on to the next one.
I would just really quickly, I would just add that under Dr. Murphy's leadership, I come from team sports. So the idea that you play a position that helps the advancement of the overall team, if you will, so whether that's score a touchdown or score a basket, whatever it may be, the idea is you play your position to advance the work. So I think for me, she has allowed us to be ourselves and bring our whole selves to work. We have fun in our meetings. We laugh and tell jokes, and our personality is able to come through with some of our frustrations at times. And I really think as leaders, we're similar yet distinct in the same way. And so that really makes, like I said before, doing some of this challenging work, there's some levity that just makes it inspiring, and you want to stay in there and grind and fight to get the things done that you got to get done. So just wanted to add that piece.
I'm glad you did. Dr. Wimbush, anything you want to add? I don't want to leave you. Okay.
I just echo my colleagues.
Awesome. Our next question, the attendee is very complimentary. Dean Murphy's emphasis on learning and agility over the years has been inspiring. She has accelerated workforce education opportunities throughout the region and the state. But he or she is looking to get to know Dr. Bedford and Wimbush a little better. And what are some of the opportunities you anticipate with regards to technology and its critical role in supporting next stage learning transformations amidst a pandemic? Dr. Wimbush, do you want to cover that first?
Sure. So the pandemic, I think for all of us and within higher education has it's a teacher for us. It has taught us what we have done well, and it has taught us what we need to improve in. One thing I can say about Sacramento State is that as a whole, is that they have looked at what our students' needs are, whether it's through the CARES funding or whether it's through internal funding, to see what technology and what infrastructure needs to be in place in order for our students and learners to have the access to online education. Resources have been put in place for faculty to become better suited for online learning, not just remote learning. I know of faculty who were like, I don't believe in remote learning or online learning. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to make me do it. And then there are those who have evolved from this and they love it. And they are also talking about how it has made them better instructors and faculty as a result of it. So I think we're poised now to learn from these unique experiences that we have in order to build our infrastructure, to learn what tools are available, not just using tools and technology for the sake of, but to make it more purposeful.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Dr. Bedford, is there anything you would add?
I'm sorry, Jennifer, was that to me?
Is there anything you wanted to add?
Oh, sure. Um, yeah, I would just say this, that I'm a business person that's in higher education. And I will say, whether you consider education to be a business or a social good, I look at it through a business lens in a lot of respects. And so if you think about it that way, the market has shifted. This COVID has caused us to educational services. And so I think that I know for a fact that in our certificated or non-credit certificated programs that we are having to encourage our instructors to be more adept at delivering education or training online, because that's where, even when we revert back to whatever normal was, it's not going to be what it was in 2019.
Yeah.
It's going to be some variation thereof. So we've got to be more nimble in our thinking, but it is technology and how we use it in education has definitely taken a larger portion of the portfolio.
So true. I think in everybody's daily life.
Mhm.
I'm going to punt this last attendee question to Dr. Murphy to start. Are there any nonprofits that you are collaborating with to enhance their workforce mission with yours?
That is a fantastic opportunity. And so I think right now our focus is on building our partnership with Impact Foundry, which is really the hub of all nonprofits, right? Building that partnership and programming with them to then expand and work more closely with other nonprofits. Impact Foundry's What If Conference would be coming up in the spring, and Sac State will remain a premier sponsor for that event. And we're just getting started on looking at what some of that content and programming will look like. And Brian's team is looking at programming for the nonprofit sector. So we hope to see that evolve over the next couple years. There's so much alignment of work in terms of our community-based organizations, nonprofits, even public-private partnership entities that are doing pieces and parts of the work. And I think the big questions remain about how do we as a region really come together and bring the work that we're doing so that we just have more impact as opposed to each of us or each of our entities kind of doing their individual work.
Thank you. I am being sensitive to time and wanting to make sure our viewers have the opportunity to jump off when they're ready to. I want to ask if Kelly Siefkin will come on and share with us a little bit about how viewers and community members can support the college.
So much. This has been really fantastic. The questions have been nonstop. So I think the viewers really are curious about what continuing education offers. I just wanted to have the chance to share some opportunities for how you can engage. I think the easiest one is to obviously spread the word, refer someone to return to school. All three of our deans really had a lot of ways for people to plug in, and we know that word of mouth tends to be a really great source. So please share that information. And then piggybacking up what Dr. Bedford shared earlier, consider making a gift. There are a variety of scholarships that we just started offering this first year with the College of Continuing Education, and they include degree completion, getting a certificate. We're about to launch an EMT and paramedic scholarship opportunity. We have youth programs. I don't know if we even delved into all those incredible opportunities that we offer for youth, but any gift makes a tremendous impact. And we know that we would be able to reach more individuals in our community if we could remove some of the barriers, which would include things like tuition for many individuals. Another thing I wanted to mention is become a member of the Dean's Circle. At CCE, any donor who makes a contribution of $500 or more to support the Dean's Innovation Fund automatically becomes a member of our Dean's Circle. And it's an annual fund that serves an opportunity for Dean Murphy to best serve the needs of the College of Continuing Education. So she can use the funds to invest in outreach materials for those near completers that Dr. Bedford spoke about, or develop curriculum for working adults, making sure that we're staying the most relevant. She can invest it in technology. She can build toolkits or support adult learners that are facing emergencies, really a wide breadth of opportunities. And it's really flexible so that she can address those. And then additionally, follow the college on social media. And I'll put all of those links in the chat below. But someday when we're back in person, I also want to extend the opportunity to join us for a tour. We are part of the Sacramento State campus, and there's a great opportunity for everyone to come and see all the incredible work that we're doing. So I'll share my contact information as well. If you think of a way that you would like to be involved, let me know, and we would love to partner with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelly. And for those of you who don't know, Kelly is the first ever Director of Development for the College of Continuing Education. So really looking at ways to get you involved and engaged with the college. I'd like to tee up our last audience question, and it's not really COVID related, but have you look forward into the future and think back imagine yourself 2 years from now, and when you're thinking back to today, what do you want to be able to say, we solved that? So this is a very insightful viewer who wants to predict the future. Does anyone want to go first? Dr. Wimbush?
Oh, okay.
You were one of the first to unmute. You win.
Was it? Was I? Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see. I'm kind of treading over into Brian's territory a little bit.
Do it,
But-
Pam.
Tread
do it.
freely. Tread
But
freely.
if we can continue to reach those students who otherwise would have never thought about returning back and fulfilling their degrees, if we can reach more alums to know what we do and to champion our efforts, I think to me, I would say if we can increase that, that would be a win for me. So.
I know many people personally in my life who have not finished their degree, and it feels insurmountable to them. So I think it would definitely be a win if you could say you solved making it not insurmountable.
Right. And it's a collective effort. That's why I kind of
Yes.
threaded over in Brian's
Totally fine.
lane a little bit. I try
Totally
to stay
fine.
in my lane, but we all, you know, it's a collective effort, and we can't do it alone. And so I feel like the work that we do can make that happen.
Totally fine.
Absolutely.
It's good. It's good. I would add to that, Jennifer, if I may, that
Yes.
I want to just do exactly what Dr. Wimbush shared, but then also just solve the brain drain piece. You know, we have a lot of talent here. So in addition to getting us to a higher educational attainment level, the work that we do, at least in theory and concept, it brings employers to our region. But what happens is we develop talent, and then talent leaves because there's no jobs. Their jobs are in other places. So if we can develop the talent, but then also attract the business so that when the talent is ready, it's employable or employed, then to me, to play a part in that in the future, that would be pretty cool to say that we hit it from both sides. We upskilled our talent and we brought the businesses
Kept
to the
them.
region too as well. Kept them here, exactly. So that would
Fantastic.
be pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Murphy.
I'm right on the same playing field with my associate deans. I think from an individualized standpoint, I think every day I want to be looking back and being present with removing the shame for any adult who has not finished their educational aspirations, either because they didn't start or it just didn't work out. I want to remove the shame from that and make sure that we have runways for people to come back at any point for any reason. And then collectively, I want to be a part of the solution in the region that is exactly what Brian mentioned in terms of talent. What are all of us working in this, working with adults who may work at the fringes of different institutions or organizations? How do we all come together and really collectively work to retain, grow, and attract talent to this amazing region?
Well, this has been an amazing hour speaking with you three, and I can see why you wanted to package this as the Dean team.
Right.
You are doing amazing work. You clearly enjoy each other. You enjoy the work you do. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, and you're making a difference in the region. Are there any closing remarks you would like to share before we say farewell to our viewers?
Well, Jennifer, I want to thank you for a couple of things. One, the Alumni Association, the partnership that we have, we greatly appreciate that and always hope to continue to iterate and build on that, especially with Kelly on board being part of her time dedicated to the Alumni Association and part of her time being dedicated to CCE. I think that's just a fantastic statement for the institution about how we work in the region. The other thing I want to say is that, yeah, there's 3 of us from our team on this screen today, and Kelly makes 4. But we right now today have the privilege of being the faces to the work that is done from our college. But we have over 152 other staff members that work tirelessly to serve adult learners. We have over 700 faculty and instructional practitioners that serve learners every single year. And that's really where the work gets done. We get to, showcase that today. And it's an honor and a privilege to lead the organization and to work with these individuals. But it really is the work of our staff and the work of faculty that move adults forward. And so I greatly treasure all the work that is done on our behalf.
Fantastic, and thank you. It's a pleasure to partner between the Alumni Association and the College of Continuing Education, and I look forward to where it can continue to go from here. Dr. Bedford, Dr. Wimbush, any closing thoughts to share?
Dr. Wimbush, would you like to share a comment first?
You can go ahead.
Sure. I just want to echo what Dr. Murphy shared, and I really just want to impress upon the attendees on how this is a collective effort. I mean, we really need you. If we said something inspiring to you today, or you thought back on your experience at Sac State, we really need you to kind of lean in and help us drive this initiative, because we talked about kind of the North Star, if you will, and we really do think that we have an opportunity here, along with a lot of other organizations, but in particular around higher education, to really change the complexion and the experience and even the brand of Sacramento and the region. So just really hope we said something that kind of helped crystallize the work that we do in CCNE. And thank you again for attending.
All
So
right.
for me, I want to thank Jennifer and the Alumni Association and Development Office for the opportunity to participate. This is part of the work that we enjoy doing, is talking about CCE. And so for all of the attendees, thank you for taking time out to come and learn a little bit more about us. And please don't hesitate to reach out if we can answer any questions or clarify anything for you, or see how you can get involved with this great work. So thank you.
Well, you all have inspired me. This has been a wonderful hour. I think it's only fair that we end it with the stingers up. So who's on board? Sac State is number 1.
The one.
Stingers
Singers
up.
up.
Every
Got
single
it.
day, baby.
Singers
Stingers
up.
up.
Thank you all for joining us today. We have
Thank
had
you.
a blast sharing with you about the College of Continuing Education. And do feel free to reach out to any of us to get involved or learn more. If you forget all the other email addresses, you can always shoot a note to alumni@csus.edu and we will get it to the right person. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.